Welcome to the Your Business Untethered podcast, a space for freedom seekers ready to build and scale a business that supports their wildest dreams, even while traveling the world. Hi, I'm Dina, creator of Way of the Founder and your host. I imagine this podcast as a space where aspiring and established freedom entrepreneurs come to forge a path towards purpose, financial freedom, meaningful impact, and location independence. I'll be your guide as we defy the norm, heal old conditioning, and step into the leaders we were born to be. I myself am a firstborn, a daughter of divorcee, sister, girlfriend, professional coach, nomad, and expat of a decade plus, as well as yoga aficionado and energy healer. In my previous career, however, I worked a 9-to-5 as a professional fundraiser for American orchestras. Can you believe it? However, I needed more. I needed more freedom in my life. So 5 years ago, I called quits on resume success and claimed back the reins over my own life. What started with a one-way ticket to Vietnam and a single backpack filled to the brim has since grown into Way of the Founder, where I've helped hundreds of clients defy and heal from the paths that were told to follow, redefine freedom, fulfillment, and success on their own terms, and build impact-driven businesses that let them live and work from anywhere. Join me each week for deep dives into leadership, strategy, and mindset, as well as feelings that fuel the untethered CEO. That's you. Whether you're building your dream with a coconut flight ticket, wine glass, or coffee in hand, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today I have a very special episode for you. What I'm dropping into the podcast today is a webinar recording that comes straight out of my monthly subscription, the Freedom Seekers community. And the reason I've chosen to share this recording with you is A, I'm generous, but B, it was actually a really important conversation about what freedom means on a much, much deeper level than just, getting to choose how you want to spend your day. We talk about agency. We talk about the privilege of being able to and having built a freedom-based business from the sense of now you have a business that gives you agency, that gives you the ability to move at a moment's notice almost to a city, a country, even a continent, even where you feel more like you're at home, where you feel more as though you can actually remain safe and healthy. So we talk about some pretty heavy things inside the episode, the webinar as well. We talk about what it means to run a freedom-based business, what the privilege is of it, and what the responsibility of it in politically trying times. And we take a deep look at what purpose really means in a business sense, how purpose translates into our brand. And we look at what purpose means on a very personal level and what it means from a place of what is the problem that we as entrepreneurs are solving, that you as an entrepreneur are solving in your corner of the world, and how can you use your business and the money that you generate and the community that you create around your business to affect positive change. So I hope you enjoy this. Again, this is a webinar that comes out of my monthly subscription, Freedom Seekers community. Overall, inside FSC, Freedom Seekers community, we every single week, every single month look at freedom from a mindset perspective, from an agency perspective. We dive really deep into how can you create freedom from judgment? How can you create freedom from expectations? How can you begin to look at and claim back an individuated personality from your relationship with your mom that may have been enmeshed for a really long time? So we go really deep inside of the Freedom Seekers community, and this is just one really, really important, and for these times that we live in, very relevant excerpt. I hope you love it. I hope you gain from it. And here is the webinar. I'll drop it right in, and I will catch you on the next episode. Welcome to today's Freedom Seekers webinar. If you can't make it live, then I do recommend that you block off the entire 45 minutes to really attentively listen to today's webinar. Today's webinar feels really close to home for me
It might get a little heavy because we will talk about world politics. We simply can't talk about independence and building a freedom-based life without also acknowledging what that means to the greater good and within the current political and socioeconomical landscape. But most of all, throughout all of this, today I really want to ask this question, well, do we have the freedom to speak our mind? So right off the bat, some of us don't. Depending on the country that we live in, we don't. Depending on the jobs that we have, we don't. Depending on the person who is president or chancellor or head of state, you don't, right? So if you do, and I believe I have privilege, absolute privilege to have the political and the social freedom to speak my mind. My mom didn't. My entire mom's generation didn't. People living right now don't. I have the external freedom to speak my mind, but do I have the internal freedom to speak my mind? Do I give myself enough love? Do I claim enough agency for myself to stand my ground? Now, to stand my ground personally in relationships and when I, deal with the hotel, but do I have the power? Do I have the inner resources to stand my ground as a business, as a brand, to speak my mind in a way that allows people to get to know me enough to figure out whether or not they want to work with me? Now, they don't just have to like me and resonate with my values and with who I am. We'll get into the other elements that our audience also has to gain trust in before they can even consider working with us. But it starts with this. Do you have the external and do you allow yourself the internal freedom to speak your mind? And if you have the external agency to speak your mind, why don't you? Or asked differently, what are you trying to protect yourself? And it's typically judgment, failure, rejection. Why? Because our mind, when we operate from a place of fearing any of these things, failure, rejection, and judgment, part of us places our self-worth outside ourselves. If they hit the red button, then I'm not worthy. If they reject me, then I must not be loved. If this turns out to be failure, if this client says no to me, then I must be not enough. So we have to find a way. We have to walk the path back to a place where we can give ourselves that agency to speak our mind as well. So the things that we're protecting ourselves from, we have to find not just antidotes inside ourselves, but we have to recognize that what we're trying to protect ourselves from, again, this is all granted that you have the political, the social, the religious freedom to speak your mind. We have to find a way to claim back that agency inside ourselves and go, wait a minute, I'm still a whole person, even if my mom doesn't approve of my business. Oh, wait a minute, I'm still a lovable person, even if this client tells me that my prices are too high in my offers. Oh, wait a minute, I'm still worthy of living out my ideal life. Even if the stranger down the street just judged me for the fact that I'm sitting with my laptop on the pool at 12 p.m. and then go to the gym at 3 p.m. I'm still worthy, I'm still whole, and I'm still fully and unconditionally loved. So how do you do this? How do you walk that path back to what we call our most authentic self? The version of us that is not smeared, that is not stained with any of societal's conditioning. How do we walk back home? Well, one ongoing practice that I engage in is whenever I feel less than, whenever I feel not loved or not lovable, is I look at, well, what is it that I'm seeking from the outside world right now? And how can I either make a really clear request to receive that or provide myself with that? Now, affirmations are a really easy example of this, right? You might be looking for someone to sort of like pep you up, right? Like, oh, you're so beautiful and you're so lovable and just look at all the things that you have accomplished. Well, can you give yourself that pep talk? Affirmations is one of the most common examples to sort of exemplify what it means to provide yourself with the thing that you seek in the outside. But the more you give yourself the love that you crave, the more the outside world now becomes able to give you that love as well. It literally, because you elevate your frequency, now that love that you crave now suddenly fits in with what you're sending out already. So instead of looking to show up perfectly online or to your clients in order to be loved, love all of the little quirks about you. I love the fact that I don't read off a script to you. And that might mean that I go off on a tangent over here and I digress over here and maybe I misuse a phrase because in German, my first language, or in English, my second language, I can't for the life of me figure out how to remember idioms and phrases that are being used. So I botch them all the time. Well, I love myself for that. I love myself for that imperfection. My mom gets a good laugh out of me when I then try to not only botch a German idiom, but also translate an American idiom into German and then miscommunicate. It's a great source of laughter for the entire family. I love myself for that. I don't make myself wrong for that. So I'm not going to try and show up to you folks or even online on a podcast perfectly. I own all of these imperfections. I also share them. I just shared them with you. I acknowledged them and I shared them with you. That gives you a piece of my personality. Maybe that even inspires you. Again, it's still not going to move you to want to work with me, but it makes you, if this resonates with you, it maybe makes me a person to you that you want to, or that at least you have the ability to keep listening to, that you don't tune out automatically. Because something about me, the way I show up, resonates. So where does this leave us with our messaging, right? I keep making reference to, well, how can people buy from us, right? And we're still going to keep this squarely within the mindset piece. We have to look at, well, the first reason why people buy from us is because they have trust in us. There are 3 types of trusts that we have to enable our audience to build towards us. And the first type is trust in ourselves. And we can't build that trust in us as the authority and the expert, but also us as the human, unless we show up as a human. And that speaks both to everything that I bring to this, that goes to the fact that I actually went to business school, that I have a degree in entrepreneurship, that I've helped founders, profit and nonprofit founders build businesses out of thin air, that I've built my own business, that I've pivoted in my business, that I've helped hundreds of clients build their business. Like, I bring that to the table, and this is not bragging, it's simply a fact. It's fact that I've built and enrolled 500 students into a youth training orchestra. It's fact. I get to talk about it. I bring all of that, but then I get to also bring all of the quirks and the fact that now my hair looks different because after, 2 decades of dyeing my hair, I no longer dye my hair. And I barely ever wear a bra except for tonight and no longer wear makeup, right? Like, that's just all of me. I don't necessarily have to say all of these things, except when I'm trying to make a point. Why don't I have to say these things? Because I am these things. And again, because I've walked the path back from looking outside myself for love and validation and have remembered these sources to be inside myself. That's why these days it's rather easy for me to just show up. So that's the first trust we want to build. The second type of trust we want to help our audience build is trust in our process. And here I would say that this sort of has 2 angles, right? When I go shopping for coaches, I look at, well, does their process work for them? Do I see them actually walk their talk? If I don't even remember their name the next day. Do I see their clients implement and have success with their process? This is social proof. And can I, just from looking at their free stuff, can I get a good enough understanding of what their process is so that I can then take it back and run it through my own filters if this process will get me to where I want my business to where I want to take my business, if this will work for me from an energetic perspective. Like, I have to know, do I like the way this person talks? Because this person is going to have to talk to me all the freaking time to help me implement this process. So I better like talking to the person. But more to the point, does what she say move the needle? I want to offer some quick wins, even if in your free content. Actually, my current coach talks about content being one of our offers. We can't just have as our content. It's part of who we are. It's part of our brand. And I heard a beautiful metaphor on a podcast the other day. I think it was the Make Shift Happen podcast. They said that, if I was in the market to buy a car and I wanted to buy an Audi, which I do. I'm not in the market for it, but I want to buy an Audi. And I go in, I'm like, great. So I want to buy a 2-seat convertible Audi with this kind of seat and that kind of seat. Before I buy and order it, can I test drive it? They're not going to send me over to the lot next door and have me test drive a Volkswagen. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Volkswagen, but they're cheaper. And they're not the kind of car that I'm in the market for. Why would I then go and buy a fucking Audi if I've just test driven a Volkswagen? So if you're trying to sell Audi, you have to have your audience be able to test drive Audi, meaning your free content has to be really fucking amazing. You can't give everything away, but you have to give people this is how I help people, and this is why. And then they have to have trust in themselves. And this is where we sort of bring this full circle to, do you claim the agency to speak up? Do you claim the agency to speak up? Your audience needs to be able to look at you and go, actually, I think I can do this. I'm nowhere near where fill in the blank is. But I've seen her walk through these steps herself enough times to now have gained trust in myself that I'm also able to do this. I've seen her clients step through the process. Now I have trust to do this myself. But most importantly, your content, the way you show up online, offline, has also helped me as a potential client sort of do away with a few limiting beliefs. It's helped me become a person who looks at a business expense not just as an expense and money that's gone, but as an investment towards the future. So the more you show up confidently in your process, in yourself, in your methods, in your client result, and most importantly, in why you do it, who you do it for, the more you're giving your audience a chance to say, you know what, I've got this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So let's bring it back to the mindset piece. And now I'm going to hit you with something rather intangible and something that for some reason I've had conversations with my clients all week, really all month long. And this includes February all the way now until the beginning of March. And it's the sense of, are you standing firmly grounded in your purpose? Are you clear on what your business mission, your business purpose is? And then are you building from that purpose, or are you sort of hiding from that purpose? Hear me when I don't say, are you hiding behind the purpose? No, I'm asking you, are you hiding from the purpose? Is there a part of you that sets the purpose and this is my mission statement and then sort of forgets about it? And then calls Dina and goes, Dina, what should I do with my offers? And then Dina goes, well, what's your business purpose? Run it through your business purpose. Does it make sense? Does it make good on your business purpose? If not, then no. If yes, then probably. However, I'll also say that it's sort of a good sign when you sort of run away from your own purpose, from your own business purpose, that is. It's sort of a good sign because it must mean that your business mission is really fucking big. That your mission maybe really perhaps is going to change a few people's lives. That maybe perhaps as a result of you fully embodying your mission, the world will become a better place. That maybe if you fully embody your mission, you're actually going to start making really quite a bit of money, because the minute we really live into, this is the change that I bring into the world, this is the problem that I solve, this is the value I bring into the world, we will begin to make money. Money likes impact. Money and impact aren't mutually exclusive. I literally just said this on a podcast an hour ago. They're not mutually exclusive. We need money to expand our impact. And if we truly and genuinely have an interest in changing people's lives, we will bring in money. We will make money. Now, this is true even for fucking Elon Musk. It's true even for a person like him. Because some people out there are still going to look at what he does and go, have a great impact on the world. He has an impact on the world, that's for sure. But listen, if he can put his money towards the mission and the vision that he sees, I can do the same thing. I may not have his billions, but just like him, I can use the same kind of money. Not the same kind of amount of money, but I can use the same kind of money and put a stake in the ground and say, this is the world I want to contribute to. So if you find yourself sort of literally going, I mean, not literally, but figuratively going around in circles in your business and sort of coming to a full stop every time you have to or want to come up with a new offer, and you ask yourself these questions of like, well, is this a good offer? Should I do this? So who should it be for? Then I'm going to start asking you, I'm going to encourage you to sort of come back to this. Wait a minute. Have I run this through my mission filters? Because that should make it really easy. If your offer makes good on your mission, then the only other filter that you need is if the offer supports you in living the lifestyle that you want. That's easy now. So the other place, right, I talk about offers. The other place where, to bring this back to brand and to content, the other place where we sometimes hide from our mission is content. Every content, long-form content like our blogs and our podcast, and short-form content like threads and Facebook, though Facebook is kind of long, and Instagram, right? So here's where this shows up. Instead of looking at what is it that I want to say about my field, and then say that, what's the problem I want to solve in my field, and then name the problem, and then offer the solution. Instead of doing this, where you would be coming from your mission, you completely shut all of your inner systems down, intellectually and energetically speaking, and now you look outside yourself. You're like, oh, they're doing this. Maybe I should post this. She just posted this. Maybe I should post. Oh, that's a cool trend. I'm just going to copy this and post this. Sad truth is there's a lot of content creators and social media coaches who will actually literally give you this as a strategy and even have the audacity of calling it a strategy. Sure, it can grow your account, but it doesn't grow a community. It doesn't grow connection to the people in your audience. And if it doesn't do that, if it doesn't grow a tribe, if it doesn't grow connections, you're just a missing weight. You're just gaining a bunch of followers that never even would consider buying on the internet. Not from you or anyone. So typically accounts that I see that really build from their mission, they grow a little more slowly. They also grow their revenue a lot quicker. Why? Because they're intentional about who they bring into their world. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have to learn how to actually grow on Instagram and follow some of the trends that are on Instagram. I'm not saying that. You do have to do that. You have to learn how to speak the language of the platform that you're on. But as to what you say using that language, that has to come from inside. That has to come from your business mission, from your purpose. So again, same thing here. If you feel really uninspired, if you're like, let me go and find a thing that I can post. I don't know what to post today. Again, the question I'm going to ask you is, are you hiding from your mission? Because if you were leading from your mission, you would have 100 things to say to me right now pertaining to your mission without even having to think about it. I know, like these things, I'm so aligned with my mission. I'm so clear on what the changes I want to bring into the world. I literally no longer spend any minutes preparing for podcast interviews. I don't spend a single minute preparing for potential client calls. Not because I've spent my whole life living into this version of myself that I am right now. I've done the prep. Now I'm just out here embodying it. Yeah, I still learn new business practices. Yes, I still learn how to tweak my brand awareness and perform. Absolutely, I'm still learning. But when it comes to talking about what I do, I just do it. I don't have to look outside myself. I don't have to look to how other people talk about their business. I just have to look to what's the change I want to bring into the world. I'm going to just look at the comment here. What is the change you want to bring into the world? Are you asking me? Yeah. I want people to have internal and external agency to live exactly the life they want to live so that they can give and give and give resources and opportunities and access to the world from the overflow. I truly want people to be able to just fully live into the potential that they were God-given. And the only way to grow back into this potential and truly embody your purpose is to not be in survival mode. And you're in survival mode if you've never looked at your relationship to your parents. You're in survival mode if you're hoping, waiting, begging for your boss to give you a raise or a promotion. You're giving agency away if you work for, I was going to say the government, but we're not going there today. if you work for the man and the corporation, the organization you work for can technically fire you at a moment's notice. Now, there are big employment law differences between North America and Europe, but, if you're working for the man, automatically you're not fully in control of your life. If you haven't looked at trauma that's holding you back, you're not the one running your life. So you have to build that freedom, right? I say I build a freedom-based lifestyle. It has very little to do with the fact that now you're able to travel around the world and work from anywhere, though that's a really fucking nice perk. But freedom is so much deeper. And the more people I can equip with that freedom, the more people are there that are now becoming literal sources of positive change. In other words, I just want people to be the best version of themselves so that this world can go back to a loving place, honestly. And I think entrepreneurship is the way. Musk is onto something. Entrepreneurship is absolutely the way to change the world. But again, if he can do it, so can I. And so can you. And so can the next person. We just have to put that stake in the ground and go, okay, I'm done living life just for a paycheck so that I can pay the mortgage to the bank, which then pays taxes to the government, and then this and then that happens. I don't want to be just a thing in the wheel. I want to be the car. I want to be the vehicle. I want to be the vessel. So that's my purpose. That's my purpose. And it's always been my purpose. Even when I used to exclusively work with musician entrepreneurs, I only worked with people who cared about how their work would affect their community. That's the only type of person I've ever worked with. Even as an employee, I strove to work with that type of person. And I succeeded for the most part, except as an employee, there's so much red tape and there's so much, not even bureaucracy and nonprofits, because we don't really have good management, but so much steamed in your old ways, you can't actually make a change. So I became an entrepreneur, put my business degree to use. So now I don't have a script, but I do have notes, and they just went away. Here they are. What are we talking about next? Let me just take a minute here. So, Carol, this was the perfect segue, right? What is my purpose? What's the thing that I get up for in the morning, right? And I should say, right, what hasn't been clear to me until a few days ago, I'll share, is what the framework is under which Way of the Founder operates. And in fact, I used to be a little hesitant to even call it a framework because the way my business works most likely isn't going to be the way your business should or will work for you and for your business and for your community, right? So I'm not going to be here and teach you exactly the business model that I use but I do have a framework that Way of the Founder and that I operate upon, and that is, are you healing? Meaning, are you looking at your mother wound and other various factors that might have caused conditioning or trauma? That is, are you building your community from a place of connection? That is, do you have a good understanding of and ability to create a structure that supports your lifestyle goal and a structure that also supports your purpose? And by structure, I mean the automating systems that you have in place, the types of offers that you have in place, the ability to serve a big group of people without having to always be on. Are you clear on your purpose? That's the piece that we're talking about today. And have you defined what freedom means to you? Have you defined what the life is that you're of? And if your answer to this question is, I want to see a change in the world, then no, you have misanswered the question, because purpose is external. The life that you want to live is internal, and both of these answers have to be concrete but also distinct. They can't be intermixed with one another. Because again, you have to fill your cup first. You get to be happy. You get to thrive. Because a thriving, happy person begets thriving, happy people, right? So define what freedom is. Set your purpose. Understand how to implement a structure to support your purpose and your vision. Fill that structure with connections and heal from the inside out. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Right, because you can't just look at your purpose and then run everything that you do in your business through that purpose. You're going to burn out that way. The other important question is what I've just asked you. Are you clear on the lifestyle that you want to build? And now I want to use this as a segue to actually, in fact, talk a little bit about the political climate that we're in. And I promise I won't make this too dark of a conversation, but the truth of the matter is that America used to be an ally to the EU. America is no longer an ally to the EU. America, and by that I of course mean the person living in the White House. I do not mean the people. I have a very clear understanding of the polls right now. I have a very clear understanding of what's going on the ground. But the guy living in the White House seems to be best friends with a dictator who I'm losing my words, who's for a very long time been threatening the integrity and the sovereignty, and with that, the safety of Europe. Not just the Balkan states, but the entire European continent. War, unfortunately, is no longer impossible. It's no longer an unthinkable reality. In fact, it has returned to Europe 3 years ago. It already has returned. And the Ukrainian people and president have been doing a fucking phenomenal job at fighting off a much, much bigger army, the Russian army. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen now with Trump being a freaking fucking maniac clusterfuck of a dumb boy fuck. I don't know what's gonna happen. I had a conversation a few days ago with a family member about a family member who is a minor. If push came to shove, personally, I would much rather for that male family member who's currently a minor, about to be 16, to be out of the country and not propped up in an army uniform. I said to that family member, get the fuck out of the country. At the very least, move further west. Not all the way, but within Europe. And some very real objections were raised. What about my job? What about my house? I rely for my income, which feeds me, on my job, which I have here at home. I cannot afford to just move. Now, it's my great honor and my great privilege to be able to say that kid can just take a flight and come and stay with me, no matter where in the world I am. I don't care where in the world I am. I have the resources to do that. And I have the ability to even then make some location choices based on what makes sense. Now, I must say, because the universe is listening, I really, really hope that this is just a really horrifying, hypothetical thought exercise, right? But the point I'm getting to is location independence used to be literally exclusively just a lifestyle that I fancy. There was nothing more to it. For me, location independence and freedom-based business aren't even that connected. Of course, thanks to having built a business that supports all kinds of shenanigans, I have location independence. But I could have also built a freedom-based business without necessarily looking to have location independence. But these days, location independence is safety measure. It's such a big privilege, right? And I recognize that as a traveler, I have passport privileges, I have socioeconomical privileges. Depending on which part of the world I am, I have skin color privileges. I recognize all of that. And world politics has just given me another privilege. And I don't even know that I get to call it a privilege because it's something that I very actively created for myself. And that's location independent. And so freedom-based business really and truly means, do you have the freedom to make the choices that keep you happy, that keep you healthy, that keep you safe? Just had a podcast and the host asked me, how do you reconcile having a really strong purpose in your business and also wanting to live a fun, freedom-based lifestyle? And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Living anywhere in the world is fun, no doubt, no question. But it's not about that. It's about, are you building a business? Are you allowing yourself to build a business? Do you have the mentorship? Do you have the structures in place to build a business that gives you agency, to keep your ass safe, to have a vote that's bigger than the one that you put on the ballot? Do you have the agency to keep your loved ones safe? Do you have the agency to, again, keep yourself safe and healthy? That's what freedom is really about. And yeah, for me, it's been fun to have an income that's entirely independent of where I am in the world. traditional brick and mortar entrepreneurship would not provide me with that. I would still be an entrepreneur. I would still have the same tax quote or tax, whatever, let's call it code. But I wouldn't have the same freedoms. Business ownership was not always supposed to be about that sense of agency. But I'll tell you what it used to always be about until the online world sort of was like, oh, I just build a business and travel the world and it's going to be fun. Back when I went to business school and decades before that, entrepreneurship was about solving problems and it was about improving the world. We have to get back to that ASAP because there's a sense on the internet of, oh, like the only reason you need or the only reason for you to become an entrepreneur is so that you can travel. And let's just figure out a little something that you enjoy doing and then do it. That's such a short-sighted conversation. It's going to make you utterly unfulfilled. It's going to have you run out of money because a business or any kind of venture that's not squarely rooted in why do you do this? What are you doing this for? It's not going to fly with customers. And from an energetic perspective, from a purpose perspective, you are going to burn out doing it because there is no point to doing it other than living your life. And innately, we all have a desire to live a life that's just a little bigger than our own body. Just isn't. We don't even have to try that hard. But think back on like the 10 moments that you really cherished in the last couple of months. I bet you right now that 9 out of these 10 moments were co-created with another soul. So permission to think big, permission to think about what's the agency that I need or want to create for myself, for my business, and perhaps also for other people. So let's remember, and here's where I'm going to end this. Let's remember what a privilege it is to be able to be a digital entrepreneur. And let's use this privilege wisely for ourselves, but also to inspire others, to support both friends and our larger community. And remember that the more money we bring into business, the more of a vote we have. You can hate or like the concept. I don't even care if you're for or against capitalism, but that's just the world that we live in. The more money you bring into your business, the more of a vote you have, the more of a weight your words have, because you can make your words spread to more people. The more money you put into the stock market, the more weight you have to vote with. Do you see what's happening to the Tesla stock right now? Yeah, it's a response to the way Elon Musk moves his hands and the way he fires millions upon millions of people. It's a direct response. It's people using their money to vote. So we get to remember to put in a vote for positive change, to put in a vote for love, to put in a vote that is for, not against, our own values, our own mission, our own purpose. So I've given you plenty to think about today. I've given you plenty of reasons to use the agency you already have. I've given you plenty of reasons to speak the freak up. And I'm not even here preaching for revolution. I'm not even here preaching for activism. I'm just here preaching for why not share your values? Why not talk about your mission, right? We don't all have to have the mission so big in magnitude that it's going to change the entire world. I'm just here to say, well, if changing one person's life or even just changing one person's mood for that one day gives you so much joy, why not do more of it? It's not that hard. It's not that complicated. Stop hiding from your mission. Every time it gets a little hard, it feels a little uninspiring, it feels a little like stop and go in your business, bring it back to, wait, am I building from my mission? Am I building from my purpose? So that's it. That's all I have. Before we go, any quick feedback or response? Oh, awesome.
Thank you for listening to the podcast, Your Business Untethered, hosted by me, Dina, creator of Way of the Founder. I love hearing from you, so please drop me a DM on Instagram sharing your insights from this episode. And if you are ready to take the leap, my free guide to plot your 9-to-5 escape in 7 days and the Freedom Business Scorecard are in the show notes for you to grab. If this episode created change for you, please leave a review and be a friend and share this with a friend or colleague that you love. Until next time, please wake every day, seize the day, defy the norm, and create your very own type of freedom. I love you. I do mean it.